Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of The Take. I'm your host, Jackson Burleson, of course. And in today's episode, okay, so we got NFL playoffs, of course. We got my whole playoff predictions coming up in this episode. But before we give you the playoff predictions, let's see you guys hit that subscribe button, that notification bell, and also like this video to see if you even like or dislike my picks, and then comment who you think is going to win the Super Bowl in 2025, who's going to host that Lombardi Trophy. And this episode is going to be brought to you by me because I'm bringing this to you wherever you're driving, wherever you are doing, if you're doing chores around the house. Okay, I got you, all right? We're going to make this entertaining because we got some upset picks, a new segment on the show, JB's Upset Picks. And here's how these picks are going to work. So I've got $20, okay? We've got 5 games in the wild card round that we're going to be picking upsets for. So what is an upset exactly in this criteria? So upsets, they are the seeding. So basically a lower seed beating a higher seed is an upset. It's not we're not going by spreads. We're not going by none of that. Money lines, underdogs, favorites. We're not doing none of that here. So the lower seed is considered an upset. So we've got my first upset. So we've got $20 to spend. So I'm going to go ahead and spend, the money. So how does it work? So basically, the more money I spend, the more likely I think it's going to happen. The less money I spend, the less likely I think it's going to happen. So here are the 5 upsets for each wild card game that I do have. I'll pop them up on the screen for you. So I've got the Commanders to beat the Bucks. I'm spending $8 on that one right there. The Commanders are the 6th seed. The Bucks are the 3 seed. The Commanders are going into Tampa. They played them earlier in the season. So I think that's going to happen more likely than not because the Commanders are a completely different team than they were in the beginning of the season when they last played the Buccaneers. And then let's go Vikings to beat the Rams for $6. So we've got $14 spent so far. So we only got 6 left remaining to spend. And this game could be in Glendale, Arizona. We don't know yet because of the wildfires. We're going to go ahead and get into that later. And then my third upset pick is going to be the Packers to beat the Eagles. And I'm going to spend $3 on that because the Packers are banged up, okay? And it's at Philadelphia. We all know what happened at the beginning of the season. It was a close game, but we'll see if that upset happens, but I'm going to spend $3 on that. So we've got $3 left to spend. So we're down to $3 left. And I'm going to go Steelers to beat the Ravens for $2. You know how those games go between the Steelers and Ravens. It's a division battle. But I will say the Steelers winning is highly unlikely in my opinion. And then the Broncos to beat the Bills. This is the most unlikely one in my opinion. I'm going to spend $1 on that because it's at Buffalo. You know, you got a young team who hasn't been in the playoffs since 2015. So, you know, that's a whole thing. But so those are my upset picks. So those are JB's upset picks. So now let's get into the play of the week. So we got Devon Vele, the touchdown against the Kansas City Chiefs, week 18. This was 6 minutes to go in the second quarter. This play was absolutely incredible. Okay, this play was actually insane. So I need you guys to listen to this play. And it literally, okay, the ball was bobbling, okay, between 3 defenders. A Broncos player comes out of nowhere, scoops it up, catches it, gets his knee on the ground. It's a touchdown. But let's hear the call from Jim Nantz and Tony Romo for that game real quick.
Having to he's like, move over, get in your position.
Here's Nix rolling out, looking for the rookie record. Ball tipped and caught. Oh my gosh, the double deflection and a Denver touchdown.
I know it's incredible, but I think.
All right, so the double deflection, not 3, correction. But this was one of the best plays in the entire NFL season, in my opinion. It's just the way he caught the ball. And let's give Vele a shout out real quick. He had 4 catches with 50 yards and a touchdown, and he's out of Utah. First-year player out of Utah. Go Utah Utes. Not a Utes fan, by the way. But the Broncos, they clinched the playoffs with this win over the Chiefs, and they handed the Kansas City Chiefs their first shutout Their first shutout since December 16th, 2012 at Oakland. So that's the last time they got shut out. Now the Chiefs, they are resting a lot of starters in this game. So this game was not competitive. As you know, it's a shutout. So, and this is also the second time the Broncos have beaten the Kansas City Chiefs in their last 19 matchups. So that's pretty insane. But we're gonna come back to the Broncos in a second. We're gonna go ahead and move on to Chargers at Texans. This is the first wild card game. It's gonna be going on CBS, 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. This game right here. The Chargers are favored currently, and they finished second in the division. Texans won the AFC South. This is a very tough game, but I'm going to go the Chargers to beat the Texans at Houston. I think the way Justin Herbert has been playing this year, he's been playing absolutely sensational. I mean, he's only thrown 3 picks. 3 picks. I mean, that's pretty remarkable for Justin Herbert. And with that kind of a performance, you're a top 10, or not top 10. You're a top 5 quarterback, Justin Herbert, for throwing only 3 interceptions in a season. Are you kidding me? Like, this guy has been unbelievable, and he's making players around him better. And one guy that I really think is going to step up is Ladd McConkey. This guy's had an absolute stud of a rookie year. I mean, this guy is a beast. Like, he had 1,000 yards this year. I mean, he was the leading receiver on the Los Angeles Chargers. And when you go and look at how he plays, he's fast. You can put him in the slot. You can put him in motion. He can also run on the X. I mean, he can do a lot of things with the football. And that's why the Chargers drafted this man. And that's why Ladd McConkey was so good when he was at Georgia. So I would say this. The Chargers defense as well is a huge factor in this game. They have Khalil Mack. They got Joey Bosa. They have Derwin James. I mean, they got a lot of dogs on this defense. And Jim Harbaugh, he is the head coach of this team, of course. But Jim Harbaugh, he had a comment about C.J. Stroud going into this matchup. So let's hear from Jim Harbaugh real quick.
There's, I mean, all the talent is there. I mean, he's got the courage. So many times I've seen, like, defender coming right at him, and he just stands in there, lets him get close enough. Almost knows they're going to hit him, and then he's able to, get the ball up over him, around him. And we're talking, 16, 18-yard in breaking dig routes or routes to the sideline. And he's a great guy and tremendous competitor.
So that was Harbaugh on C.J. Stroud. And let's talk about C.J. Stroud for a second here, because this is a pretty glaring stat to me. C.J. Stroud has gotten sacked 14 more times than he did in 2023, which is a pretty big deal in my opinion, because C.J. Stroud's not really a mobile quarterback. And this Los Angeles Chargers pass rush, they can get to the quarterback. They can make people uncomfortable. And C.J. Stroud, he has a lot of injuries on this offense. Tank Dell, he's out for the season. And then Stephon Diggs, we all know what happened with him early in the year, tearing his ACL. But Nico Collins is going to have to step up tremendously, and same with Joe Mixon, because Joe Mixon is what's going to get this offense going. If the Texans can run the football, they're going to have a chance to win this game. I mean, the Texans have struggled on offense this year. They're 22nd in the NFL in yards per game with 319. So, like, you have to be able to do something. And C.J. Stroud, he's had a similar season compared to his rookie year, but the interceptions are up. Their interceptions, they're up. I mean, he threw a lot more interceptions this year. He threw 5 last year and 12 this year. So 7 more interceptions. And in my opinion, I think one other key for the Texans is to get to the quarterback. If they can get to the quarterback and they can make Will Anderson and Danielle Hunter and put them right where Justin Herbert's going to be and hit him, make him uncomfortable, that's going to be the key. But I think the Chargers are going to win this game. And Jim Harbaugh, he's making history once again. He becomes the first head coach in the Super Bowl era to lead 2 different teams to the playoffs, and both of those teams had losing seasons the year before. So That's pretty remarkable. The transition for Jim Harbaugh is just absolutely sensational. So let's go to the next wild card game. We got Steelers at the Ravens. We just got the news today that the Ravens are going to be without wide receiver Zay Flowers for this game, and he is not going to play, which is a huge deal because Zay Flowers is, one, he's got a knee brace on, but two, he's been the best receiver on the Ravens all season. He leads the Ravens in receiving yards, and not having him in the NFL's #1 offense, that's going to be huge. But I think the Ravens, they can get past the Steelers. They got to run the football with Derrick Henry. They really have to emphasize that run game. And they also have other weapons like Rashad Bateman, Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, Nelson Aguilar. He's experienced. So they have some guys to get away with it against the Steelers. But they don't have Zay Flowers in the next round, in the divisional round, then they're officially screwed in my opinion. And I just don't think the Steelers have enough offense. I mean, their defense is good, but like if you look at, Russell Wilson and George Pickett, I mean, that's all they really got. And Najee Harris maybe, but like the Steelers offense really struggles to get it going at times. And they have the 23rd ranked offense, which is worse than the Texans. So like, I don't know. I mean, their defense is of course good. I mean, they've got Cameron Hayward, they got Minka Fitzpatrick, they got TJ Watt, who leads the NFL in forced fumbles. So like, they're going to make it interesting, but the Steelers are going to have to win this game on the defensive side of the ball. They are tied for first in takeaways with 33. So that's an interesting stat. But I'm going Ravens to advance. And also one more fact about the Ravens here. The Ravens, okay, this is the first time in the Ravens' 29-year history they finished #1 in total offense, but Baltimore became the first team in NFL history to record over 4,000 yards to the air and 3,000 yards on the ground in a season. I mean, that's pretty remarkable. And when you talk about Derrick Henry, 1,900 yards at 30-plus years of age, I mean, this is insane. This guy's at an elite level. This guy's not slowing down. He's not. No. And what does he have? He has 16 touchdowns this year. 16. I mean, that is tied for first in the NFL. And this is the second most rushing yards he's ever ran for in his career. So like, bro, Derrick Henry is going to be a beast. He has to be a beast or the Ravens are not going to win the Super Bowl. So, next matchup, Bills versus Broncos. Broncos go to Buffalo. And Sean Payton, he's going to have his hands full with Josh Allen. And here's what he's got to say about, containing Josh Allen.
Yeah, well, the first key, if you're trying to slow him down on schedule, is obviously taking away, the primary read. The challenge is his size and strength. You can spy him, but he's one of those guys, and Lamar's the same way. Like you have a guy on Lamar, and he's got this stiff arm that just keeps you at bay.
Yeah, you're right about that stiff arm, bro. You right about that stiff arm, Peyton. You got that. This man can stiff arm anybody. And he's huge. I mean, he's a big quarterback. Like, I wouldn't want to tackle Josh Allen. No way. But like the Broncos defense is not bad. Like okay, so like this is a stat I'm going to throw at you. You guys can do whatever you want with this. I'm not trying to overload you with stats. I usually don't, but there's some crazy stats for this NFL postseason. So this Bills team has allowed the fewest amount of sacks in the NFL. The Broncos have given the most sacks in the NFL. So, with that said, all three matchups where that's been the case, the team who's given the more sacks has won. So I'm not saying the Broncos are going to win by any means, but if history consistently repeats itself, then yes, they could win this football game. But I'm going to say the Bills are going to win because they've got Josh Allen. I mean, who are you going to bet against? You're going to bet against Josh Allen? No, you're not. You're not going to do that. I tell you that right now. You're not. You're not going to bet against Josh Allen. They also have James Cook, who ran for 1,000 yards this year, and he also has 16 touchdowns, tied for first in the NFL. But one guy I really want to see step up on this Bills offense is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper has not had a game with 100 yards receiving since he's been on the Buffalo Bills, since getting traded from the Cleveland Browns. And we all know Amari Cooper is a good player. I know he's a good player. He's been in the big games. He's been on the Cowboys. You know, he's played in playoff games. So, like, I know his skill set. He's also he's very underrated, in my opinion. But he's got to show up for this Bills team to have any chance to knock off a team like Kansas City. With Denver, no, I don't think so. I mean, they got other guys like Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, which go knows. And I think he will have a big postseason, by the way. I think Keon Coleman will have a huge game because, one, Pat Surtain is going to have to guard Amari Cooper, which is going to take pressure off guys like Keon Coleman and Khalil Shakir because, you know, the number one receiver always has the toughest matchup, and it's always hard to get open on a guy like Pat Surtain, who is the best cornerback in the league, by the way, could win Defensive Player of the Year. But, I mean, the Bills, to me, like, they got to get over this hump. I mean, this is the year for the Bills to do it, in my opinion, if they do. And look, if they can't win this year, then I don't know, because their defense is very underrated. I mean, no one talks about guys like Dorian Williams and Terrell Bernard. Like, those guys are elite. They're elite. They can all make tackles in open space. Like, I mean, those are good players. And for the Broncos, I mean, they don't have any experience. So, like, the Bills should easily take care of this team. Supposedly, they should. But, like, I mean, the Broncos, they haven't been to the postseason since 2015. I mean, this is the first time since they won the Super Bowl with Peyton Manning that they've been back there. So, like, and it's taken a while. And they also got a rookie quarterback. Now, Bo Nix has been fantastic. He's been fantastic. But the playoffs are a different beast. And I'm not going to blow up this Chiefs win because they had none of their starters playing. But the Broncos did almost beat the Chiefs early in the season, who the Bills did beat. So, I mean, this is an interesting game. I mean, I'm not going to say it's not, but I feel like here are the two outcomes here. The Broncos either get blown out or the Broncos make it close and the Bills barely win. That's what I think is going to happen in this game. And like I said, I mean, Pat Surtain is the best corner in football. He has 11 pass deflections this year and 4 interceptions. I mean, who wants to cover that? But I think it'll help having different guys that Josh Allen get the ball to, including Dalton Kincaid, who's a really good tight end as well. So they have weapons, and if they can get the run game going, I think they got this. The next game is the Packers at the Eagles. Now, we just got word that A.J. Brown did not practice today, and that is huge. That is huge. And Jalen Hurts, he was limited in practice with a concussion yesterday, so his status for the game's up in the air. He's looking like he's expected to play. But, I mean, these teams have met before. They played week 1 in Brazil. It was 34-29 on that slippery field. I mean, I forgot. I was going to rewatch the game last night from week 1, and I forgot how slippery that field was. Like, it was nuts. It was just so slippery. But, like, for the Packers to win this game, which I don't think is going to happen, I'm going to go the Eagles, even though that pains me dearly because look at my Cowboys flag, which actually, I'll go a little quick story here because over the Christmas break, this is actually funny, by the way. Just stick around for the story. I go to a bar to watch the Dallas Cowboys play the Eagles, which I don't know why I even went to public to watch that game. But I was wearing a Drew Pearson jersey, right? And I'm down in Florida, so, like, I didn't think, like, this would be, like, an Eagles bar, per se. So me and my buddy, we walk in, and all I see is green. I mean, straight green up in there. Like, I'm like, am I seeing this correctly? Like, do I need to? Yeah, there's a bunch of Eagles fans here. So, like, I close the door, and then I hear an Eagles fan chirping at me. I'm like, all right, I'm walking back in there. So I walk back in, lone Cowboys fan. Imagine, lone Cowboys fan. You see Eagles fans everywhere. Like, I'm not telling you, there were Eagles fans everywhere that the waiters were even Eagles fans. Like, that's crazy. That's how crazy it was. And I walk in, I'm walking behind the bar. I'm trying to find a table to sit down because I'm hungry, okay? And I got a fire cheeseburger, by the way. But everyone in the bar started booing me. Like, I talked like everybody, and I'm just sitting there like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. I'm like looking around. I'm like, yeah, bring it on, bring it on. But I hope the Eagles lose this game because they blew us out that day. I really was like, come on now. But I got booed in Eagles bar. I don't know why I brought that up, but I did. But the Packers, they can win this game. I mean, they are banged up. I mean, Jordan Love, he is hurt, okay? He has not been 100% all season. Now, he's supposed to play, which, of course, he's going to play. It's a playoff game. Why would he not play? But the key for the Packers to win is going to be running the football with Josh Jacobs. If Josh Jacobs can have like 120 yards and 3 touchdowns, the Packers can win this game. But if he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long day because a lot of the offense for the Packers relies on Josh Jacobs, and then they go into play action. I think Romeo Doubs is going to play, and then Jalen Reed. So they got those guys. Now, Christian Watson, he's out for the season. So that's a pretty big blow. They don't have Jair Alexander either. So it's going to be a pretty interesting game when it comes to that front. But, like, I mean, I just don't think anyone can touch this Eagles team right now. I mean, they have the number 1 defense in the NFL. Okay? You look at all the position. I mean, they got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, Jalen Carter, like Cooper DeJean, Quavion Mitchell. I mean, do I got to keep naming? Like, I mean, it's insane how good this team is. Like, they're stacked. They're stacked. And that doesn't even, like, Zach Braun, who's second in the NFL in forced fumbles with 5. But, like, and that's just the defensive side of the ball. Like, the offensive side of the ball, they've got Saquon Barkley, who didn't go for the record the last game of the season, which I was actually okay with because I really didn't want to see him break Dickerson's record in more games. I just feel like that's not really breaking a record if you do it in more games than Dickerson did. But he still rushed for 2,000 yards. I mean, this year we've seen what a healthy Saquon Barkley can look like at his full potential with a good offensive line. I mean, we saw that this year, 2,000 yards. I mean, come on, stop it. Like, that's insane. But, like, A.J. Brown, man, if he does not play, it's going to be a big loss for this Eagles team. I mean, I think he's going to play because it's the playoffs. But, like, if A.J. Brown doesn't play, I wouldn't be surprised if the Packers won this game. I wouldn't. Now, I'm picking the Eagles, but I really wouldn't be surprised if A.J. Brown didn't play and they lost. Wouldn't be surprised about that at all. So I'm just throwing that possibility out there as well. And the Packers, they just came off a terrible loss against the Bears. So, like, I think they're going to be wanting to have some motivation behind that because they hadn't lost in Green Bay to the Bears in like 9 years, almost a decade. So, like, that's what we're talking about right now. But, like, yeah, Eagles, we're going Eagles. And then Commanders at the Bucs. That's Sunday Night Football. This is a tough one. I'm going to go Commanders. I think the Commanders are just really good. Like, I mean, the two-headed monster in the backfield with Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr., and then you got Jaden Daniels back there having an historic rookie season. He started off on fire this year. And then you've got Terry McLaurin, who's had yet another 1,000-yard season. I mean, Terry McLaurin has had 5 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He also had 13 touchdowns, which is second in the NFL. He was on my fantasy team as well. Thank you very much. But I also like Zach Ertz as well. He's been a huge part of this passing game. And the Commanders' offensive line is very good. So, like, I trust Jaden Daniels to get it done. Now, these two teams did meet in the first week of the season. 2 different teams now. I think the Bucs are still good. I mean, Baker Mayfield. I mean, holy crap. I mean, this guy has been really good this year. Really good. I mean, the Bucs have the 3rd ranked offense in the NFL, and Baker's thrown for 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. I mean, are you actually out of your mind, Baker? Now, the interceptions need to go down a little bit, though. 16, that's a lot. But one guy who's really impressed me is Bucky Irving out of Oregon, the rookie out of Oregon. I mean, he ran for 1,000 yards this year, 8 touchdowns, and they can also mix in Rashad White as well. So, like, they have a couple running backs that they have at their disposal, just like Washington. And they also have Mike Evans. So, like, I don't know. This is going to be a tough game for the Commanders. I think they can do it. I think they have the right coach. I mean, Dan Quinn's a good head coach, and he did talk about, game planning for Baker Mayfield. So I want to hear what he had to say first before I go any further.
When you are, rushing somebody that we call it a cage, where you try to put somebody into a spot to at least not allow them to hitch up and go. But he has had a fantastic year, now that we're going into the full breakdowns now and going into it. It's when you play somebody so early, you don't necessarily see it all. And then you look up and you see, 41 touchdowns, and you see, a lot of progress of moments and people. A lot of respect for what they're doing offensively for sure.
Yeah, we kind of mentioned the stat line already. But before we move on to the next game, I did pick the Commanders to win. But I want to congratulate Mike Evans. I mean, this guy is one of the greatest receivers in NFL history. I think he's in the GOAT conversation, if you ask me. I mean, he's got a Super Bowl. And he's got 11 straight 1,000-yard seasons. Ties Jerry Rice. I mean, did the Bucs, really fish to give him that? Yes. But, how hard is it to get 1,000 yards for 11 straight years? Very hard. I don't care if they gave it to you. I don't care if they were like, well, we threw it. We knew how many you needed. We got it. No, he got it. It doesn't matter. He's done it. So, Mike Evans is going to forever be in history books. He's the greatest Tampa Bay Buccaneer ever. 1. 2, first ballot Hall of Famer. And 3, he's a top 3 wide receiver of all time, Mike Evans. Yes, I said that. That is my hot take of the day. Mike Evans is a top 3 wide receiver in NFL history. That's what I said. Yes, I did. Yep. I mean, what this guy can do, he can run routes. He can catch the ball over basically any corner you put in his face. He's 6'5". He's huge. And he's been on Tampa. Most of his career, he hadn't even had a good quarterback until Tom Brady showed up. And I don't want to hear about Jameis Winston, Ashton. No. Tom Brady was the first quarterback he had that was good, and that took about 4 years ago for him to get that. So, yes, he's in that conversation. And then the last wild card game, Monday nights, Vikings at the Rams. Now, we don't even know where the game's going to be played yet. It could be in Glendale, Arizona, because of all the wildfires going on in California. So that could be moved. And I heard from a Vikings fan today that there are a lot of Vikings fans in Arizona. So that really could help the Vikings a little bit. That would be so messed up. Imagine now the wildfires, they're very unfortunate. Don't get that twisted when I'm about to say this, because I'm really praying for everybody in California. I mean, these wildfires are pretty bad. I mean, I heard they're by the Hollywood sign. So, I hope everyone's okay. I hope it doesn't, catch a stadium on fire, really injure people, which I think it really has injured people to a certain degree. I'm not sure. I'm not going to go into the weeds on that, but, I'm pretty sure. But imagine, winning your division, getting a home game, and then not having one. Working all season to get it, and you don't get it. That would kind of suck in a way. But I don't think it's going to matter either way, because I'm picking the Minnesota Vikings to win. I mean, they won 14 games this year, which is the most by any team in NFL history to not win their division. That's pretty remarkable. I mean, if you think about it, the thing is, people want to say, Sam Darnold is the one to blame for the game against the Vikings. Now, yes, did he miss an open throw? Jordan Addison? Yeah, he did. But, his offensive line really didn't help him. I mean, he didn't really get much protection. So, I will say I think Sam Darnold's going to bounce back. Now, if he doesn't, he's not going to get a big contract, and they probably won't trade J.J. McCarthy this offseason because they won't have the trust in Sam. Or maybe they keep him around. I don't know the significance of that, but the Vikings are a very good football team. I mean, they're talented on offense. They got Aaron Jones, who's experienced in the playoffs. He's shredded teams like my Cowboys in the past in the postseason. You've got Justin Jefferson, who, You could argue him and Jamar Chase are the two best receivers in football. Jordan Addison, who I just mentioned, TJ Hawkinson, he's really, really good as well. And this Vikings defense is very good. I mean, I think they have a lot going for them. And, like, I think Andrew Van Ginkel, he's got to come in here and have a big game. And same with Jonathan Gennard, Harrison Smith. I mean, I want to see these guys flying around, making tackles, making plays. You know, I'm assuming that's going to happen. So, like, is it a tough game? Yes, because the Vikings lost to the Rams earlier in the season. So, like, it's going to be hard. But I'm going to go with the Vikings to win wherever they play at, whether that's in Glendale or SoFi. I'm picking them to win no matter what. And the Rams, I think Matthew Stafford, you know, he's great, but, like, I just don't know if this Rams offense can do what they did against the Vikings last time they played against each other, because I think the Vikings can stop the run with Kyren Williams. And as long as, I mean, it's okay. Puka Nacua is probably going to shred them, but, like, I'm okay with that if he's the only guy. But this could be a problem if you don't contain him, and also watch out for Cooper Kupp at the same time. So it's going to be an interesting game because the Rams do have good pass rushers. I mean, they have Braden Fisk, they have Jared Verse, two Seminole boys, and then they got Byron Young. So, like, I mean, they have good players. But I'm going to go the Vikings. I think their talent on offense is just too much to mess around with. And I think they're going to be thinking about that loss earlier in the season to the Rams a lot in this game. And Kevin O'Connell, Sean McVay, it's going to be a heck of a coaching duel. I almost said the wrong word there. That's going to be a heck of a battle between two of the best coaches in the NFL. I mean, they're definitely up there in my opinion. So let's move on to the divisional round, where I've got the Los Angeles Chargers going to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I'm going to go to the Chiefs, and there's been a lot of drama around the Chiefs right now. Did the Chiefs purposely lose the game against the Broncos? No, I don't think they did. That's nonsense. They're just resting their team for week 18. But Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce talked about it on their podcast. So let's hear what Travis Kelce had to say about the Bengals not making the postseason and all this Chiefs lost on purpose so they don't have to play the Bengals nonsense.
Chiefs also clinched the #1 seed in the AFC, resting their starters, or the majority of them, in Week 18. There's some people alleging that it was a purposeful...
I ain't scared of nobody. I wanted them in the playoffs. I want to slay every dragon one by one, like Mortal Kombat. I don't even want this to be like we play the lowest seed. Just give me the best teams. AFC, NFC. Give me all of them. Mortal Kombat style.
All right, so we're doing some Mortal Kombat. I think the Chargers are going to be a victim to the Mortal Kombat style. By the way, Chiefs are going to win. I mean, the Chiefs are getting Hollywood Brown back. I think that's a very big player to get back. I mean, he hasn't played a lot this year. He got hurt. He was out for the majority of the season. And Patrick Mahomes, yeah, is he having one of his worst seasons? Yes, but, like, he's still throwing for 3,900 yards. I mean, what? Like, ugh, bro. Like, you call that a bad season? And they got DeAndre Hopkins. I trust them with Kareem Hunt and Pacheco, which apparently Pacheco, he's been battling another injury, but he had a fractured fibula in week 2 as well. So whenever he's fully healthy, he's a huge piece for this team. But this Chiefs defense is really good. I mean, they've got Chris Jones, of course, Trent McDuffie, guys like that. I think they're going to step up. I think they're going to really make it hard on the Chargers to run the football and also pass the football. I mean, last time we saw the Chiefs play anybody, it's been a close game. So I'm expecting a close game, and it's at Arrowhead. So it doesn't matter. Like, the playoffs run through Arrowhead. So, like, who cares? Who cares where you play? The Chiefs are playing. I'm going the Chiefs. Like, what are we talking about? And the other divisional game is going to be Ravens at Bills. Now, this is the one. This is the one right here, man. Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. Two of the front runners for MVP. Now, to settle that, I'm going to go Lamar Jackson MVP. He's got the best QBR. He's thrown for 41 touchdowns. I mean, he's had an absolutely unbelievable season. Only 4 picks. I'm going to go the Ravens to win this one at Buffalo, and I think Derrick Henry is going to have a field day against Josh Allen and the Bills. And I think the Bills are going to have no answer for Derrick Henry. And assuming Zay Flowers comes back for the Ravens, that's also another reason why I'm picking the Ravens to go over the Bills. And the Bills, I think they overachieved just a tad this year. No one thought they were going to be this good. And I think their little run is going to end. I think Josh Allen's had a great season. But the Ravens, they're just looking a lot different. And Lamar, he's looked a lot better. Like, I think when you talk about the best quarterbacks in the NFL, number one's Patrick Mahomes, number two is Lamar Jackson. So that's what I'm going with that matchup. And the next matchup I got is the Washington Commanders at the number one Detroit Lions. They got the bye. The Detroit Lions are looking a little vulnerable right now, in my opinion, but I don't think their vulnerability is going to be enough to affect playing the Commanders because, yeah, are they maybe going to be without Terrion Arnold? Who knows? Possibly he's day-to-day with that foot contusion. And then Aiden Hutchinson, he's obviously out, but David Montgomery's coming back. So I think that alone is going to put the Lions back in the conversation. And I'm going to go the Lions to beat the Commanders. I mean, Jared Goff, he's playing some of his best football. I mean, he's second in the NFL in passing yards. He has 37 touchdowns, is fourth in the NFL. I mean, he's been in the playoffs with the Rams. He's been to a Super Bowl. And I trust him. And Jahmyr Gibbs, bro. This dude had 4 touchdowns against the Vikings. I mean, this dude made playing football look easy. Like when you got Jahmyr Gibbs and then Montgomery in the backfield, stop it. And then they also have Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamison Williams, who both had 1,000-yard seasons this year. I don't want to mess with that. I'm good. I'm good off that. I'm good off that. I'm good. If I'm the Commanders, I'm scared in my boots for the Lions game because the Lions are a good team. And whether they're injured or not, Dan Campbell knows how to get these guys to go. And I'm telling you, they're playing okay football, but they need to really turn it around because if they don't, if Jared Goff plays the way he played against the Vikings, the Lions are going to look very vulnerable. They will. And someone's going to beat them eventually. Now, I'm not saying it's the Commanders. Now, let's go to my other divisional round game. The Vikings at the Eagles. This one right here, it's going to get very interesting. A lot of these games are going to get very interesting. Notice how not one game I've said this is a great game. This is a great game. All these are great games. This is why NFL playoff football is so dang good, man. I mean, this is why we sit here and watch every game for 18 weeks because we want to see how the playoffs go and we want to, talk about all these stats and all this stuff. And guys, if we're in the middle of this video, so if you guys can give this a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, let me know how I'm doing on these videos. Let me know what I could do better. Let me know what I could do differently. Let me know what kind of segments you want to see because this is for you guys, okay? This is not for me. This is for your entertainment, not for me. So I just love talking about football. I just love talking about sports. So I'm just here. So if you want something done differently, let me know. But my take for this game is the Eagles are going to beat the Vikings. Now, I think this is going to be a close game. I think it'll be a close game, but I think what it's going to come down to is the Eagles defense. I think it's just going to get to Sam Darnold too much. I think the pass rush is going to be there, and I think the secondary is going to make it very difficult. But I also think he's going to have success in this game because Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson are weapons for Sam Darnold. So I think Vikings will do okay in this game, but I think the Eagles, they're just too good. I mean, they're just way too good. Put them in the NFC Championship against the Detroit Lions. Now, this is where we get into JB's picks, courtesy of Hard Rock Bet, the only betting app you can actually use in the state of Florida. So let's go ahead and get into my pick. So my first pick is plus 140 for the Kansas City Chiefs to win the AFC. So I have them playing the Ravens, which is a rematch of the AFC Championship last year. And we all know how the first game of the season went between these two teams. The Ravens lost because Isaiah Likely had literally a toe on the line of the back of the end zone. Now, if that is indicative of anything, that is something that you can go, okay, I think the Ravens can win this game. I think they can. But the reason I'm picking the Chiefs is I just don't trust the Ravens, not offense, excuse me. I don't trust the Ravens defense. They just haven't been good enough for me. Plain and simple, they haven't been good enough. They've been allowing a crap ton of yards. They allow a lot of points. I mean, and when you're talking about a team like Kansas City, now I know Travis Kelce's had career lows in yards and touchdowns, but let's not forget what he did last year to the Baltimore Ravens, okay? Travis Kelce in the playoffs, he is something you do not want to mess around with. Travis Kelce in the playoffs, Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, they're two, like the Chiefs, playoff Chiefs and regular season Chiefs, I mean, they're two different teams. Two different teams. I mean, it's crazy. The Bills have always beaten the Chiefs in the regular season, but in the playoffs, they've never beaten them, not one time. Once. So, like, there's a pattern that tends to happen here. And I think the Chiefs, they're going to go to the Super Bowl for a potential three-peat. That's what's going to happen. I cannot bet against Patrick Mahomes. I won't do it. I did it last year, and I won't do it again. Now, if I bet on Mahomes to win, and if they don't this year, fine. I can live with that. But I'm not going to be the guy who doesn't pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl when they do. And I kind of just gave away my pick, which is crazy because now I got the Eagles at plus 325 to win the NFC. I think they're going to beat the Detroit Lions. I've just been saying this too much. Like, the Eagles are just too dang good. And they match up with the Lions very well. And the healthy Lions, with Hutchinson and everyone healthy, Lions win this game. But without Hutchinson, I'm going Eagles because I just think Hutchinson not playing is too big of a thing for the Lions to not have him. They have to have him to win a Super Bowl, in my opinion. That's a one player I think they need to win a Super Bowl. Now, since I said the Chiefs are going to win the Super Bowl, they're going to beat the Eagles. Yay, I finally picked the Eagles to lose a game. Like, my gosh, like, yeah, about time. Yeah, I can't believe it. I can't believe it. This is a rematch from Super Bowl 57 where the Chiefs won. It was very controversial at the end with that pass interference, that holding. It's very controversial. I remember that Super Bowl. But I do think there is room for the Eagles to win this game. Saquon Barkley, if he can run the football. It depends how Barkley does. This Eagles offense revolves around Saquon Barkley and how healthy he is. Okay? But the Chiefs, man, I mean, they just beat everybody. And I'm picking them to make NFL history three-peating for the first time ever. Patrick Mahomes is going to get his fourth ring. He's going to have a three-peat ring. And the GOAT conversation with Tom Brady is going to be wide open. Now, I'm not saying Tom Brady's not the GOAT, but the conversation is wide open. You can put Mahomes in there now if he gets this three-peat ring, which I think he will get, in my opinion. So, I'll put the bracket up of my playoff predictions. Go ahead and take a look at that. Rate my picks on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being like the worst picks you've ever seen, 10 being the best picks you've ever seen. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these picks, and also let me know what you think of the upset picks at the beginning of this video. But I'm your host, Jackson Burleson. Of course, you guys have been watching another episode of The Take. Go ahead and check out my last episode with Ethan Watts. Go ahead and give that video some love. We talked NBA as well. I'm going to be releasing some more content, but for the rest of the NFL season, we're going to be doing NFL weekly, so stick around. And guys, don't forget to subscribe. We're nearly at 800 subscribers. We're getting so close to 1,000. When I hit 1,000 subscribers, I will be working on merch. I will try to get some Take merch for you guys. So let me know in the comments what you guys would want, who's winning the Super Bowl, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. I'm Jackson Burleson, and we'll see you next week. Peace.
Talk to me, baby. Talk to me nice. I'm from another world, baby, yeah. Broadway paradise. They think I'm way too cold, cause I put my